Joe Rogan has decided to sort of lead a Twitter exodus, and if we get this up, this is him now on Gettr, verified account there, as you can see. Just in case S over at Twitter gets even dumber, I'm here now as well. Rejoice! And 8,000 reposts, 43,000 likes on his Gettr post there.
I've not seen the rejoice part. That really does make it seem like some kind of biblical statement, doesn't it? Oh. Rejoice, my fellows.
We can now say things about the vaccine that we cannot elsewhere.
And that we certainly can't right now, sadly.
No, I don't even know if he was talking about the vaccine in his interview. So if you don't know what this is about, if we go to the next link, you can see a very short segment of the interview Joe had. So this is Joe Rogan talking to, how do you say his name?
Robert Malone.
Robert Malone. He's giving an interview with Joe, and they talked about various things. I didn't have time to watch the whole thing because it's ages. It's not banned on Spotify, which is interesting.
Spotify does. I've not listened to the Robert Malone interview yet, but I have listened to the Peter McCullough interview, which was similarly controversial, not on YouTube. And Joe mentions as part of it that Spotify don't have the same guidelines that YouTube do, which allows them to have more of these kinds of open discussions. It's probably due to the fact that Spotify is primarily music-based, so they've not had to come up with guidelines for misinformation and disinformation.
Maybe, but they do have the internal screeching about, transgender ideology, for example.
Well, I mean, as soon as Joe Rogan was signed up with Spotify, they had a few of the internal people going like, no, we can't have Joe Rogan on our platform.
But hopefully Spotify have learned the lesson that no, the free and open discussion is what matters, because then the marketplace of ideas and all that.
And nothing else, it makes them look good.
Yeah. So as we have here, Lawrence Fox taking a short clip in which Dr. Malone talks about, mass formation psychosis, as he labels it. And, this interview got banned on YouTube, and the previous one, as you mentioned.
We don't want people hearing from the guy who helped to invent mRNA.
And this is someone responding here whose tweet blew up. I never watched Joe Rogan before, then YouTube removed Rogan's interview with Dr. Malone. Now I 100% have to find it and watch it. And I believe it got, whatever was put on Twitter was also just removed because, yeah.
I mean, I don't think people realize, or at least the people high up realize, that this just creates the Streisand effect.
Yes.
Yeah, you remove it, you go, well, it must be something important then.
Which is good news, really. I mean, as a free speech advocate, if Twitter wants to shoot itself on the foot every day, cool.
Absolutely, go for it, Twitter.
Yeah. If we go to the next one, you can see someone making the point here as well, which is that both of the people in the conversation were vaccinated. So, again, the anti-vax label looking kind of more stupid.
Yeah, I mean, McCullough himself has been highly involved and very hands-on with the response to COVID since the pandemic emerged.
But I'm sure he's the Antichrist, and we're bound to say it, because otherwise YouTube will shoot us behind the bike shed or something. Let's go to the next one. So you can see that he has now also joined Gettr. As you can see here, the CEO of Gettr, Jason Miller, celebrating that, he's on here now, along with Joe Rogan and a load of other people. And if we go to the next link, we can see him talking about this. So this is an article in the Post Millennial. And there's a statement in the conversation in which they actually discuss the topic of censorship, sort of preemptively, let's say. And a quote from Malone: "I try really hard to give people the information and help them to think, not to tell them what to think, okay? But the point is, if it's not okay for me to be part of the conversation, even though I'm pointing out scientific facts that may be inconvenient, then who can be allowed?" Very salient point, which is just, if we're not allowing people who have the background necessary for having this discussion. You want your experts? Okay, here's an expert that has X opinion. Yeah, but the opinion is still the wrong thing. You never wanted an expert.
Yeah, I forget who it was who put it on Twitter. It might have been Hassan or someone of that caliber of intellect who said if you've got one non-expert, Joe Rogan, speaking to an expert, you're obviously just going to get the wrong information. You need two experts. So
okay, here's two. Three. All about 47 doctors on the steps of the Capitol. 48.
Don't worry, I've got a firm grasp on these goalposts. I can take them as long as I need to.
It's an absurd argument to say, arbitrary number of expertise needed, and obviously dishonest. What they care about is the opinions. And, the liberal and reasonable thing to do instead is just to allow people to have the fight, go and discuss.
Yeah.
And no, that is not the position of Twitter or YouTube, because they're not liberal. But this also coincides with a lot of other stuff going on. So Marjorie Taylor Greene also getting banned from Twitter, and as you can see her posting on Gettr, because she's now joined Gettr, verified checkmark there, her whole post about her response to that, which is when Maxine Waters can go to the streets and threaten violence on Twitter, Kamala and Ilhan can bail out rioters on Twitter, the chief spokesman for the terrorist group IRGC can tweet Morning Soleimani, but I get suspended for tweeting Vera statistics. Twitter is an enemy to America and can't handle the truth. certainly can't, as she is demonstrated by the fact that she's banned.
Excellent point. This is all just becoming more and more of an advertisement for everyone to jump over to Gettr when they see all of these people getting axed, because you just look at it and you go, okay, random people getting axed. Am I going to be next?
I mean, if Gettr's not your cup of tea, there's Gab and all the rest of it, of course. But the thing on my mind is especially the Americans. See, the American conservative liberal types seem to have learned this. The socialist types all living on Twitter and the rest of them slowly moving over. I mean, after Donald Trump, I mean, what were you expecting? The British conservative types, not from what I've seen. At least
is
the
Trump on Gettr?
Politician types is what I'm getting at. Trump, I don't think he's on Gettr.
He should get on there.
I don't think he's on Gab or anything, though, because he's just sort of like sending out those emails that are like, from the president to the United States.
I miss his stream of thought ramblings, so I really want him to get on one of them.
Who doesn't? So it's a bit annoying, but okay. And as you can see, Marjorie Taylor Greene and a bunch of other conservative Americans, Republicans, lawmakers, all the rest of it are now on Gettr and banned from Twitter because, well, the internet is becoming divided more and more. If we go to the next link, you can see Gettr celebrating just a huge number of other people who have joined of note. And in here, you may recognize some names. I just jotted down the ones I recognize, so sorry if I missed someone. But The Quartering, Dave Rubin, Zuby, Calvin Robertson, Andy No, Paul Joseph Watson, Voice of Wales, Majid Nawaz, Brett Weinstein, Mythicist Milwaukee, Ezra Levant, Lauren Chen, Helen Dale, and Toby Young, and many, many more.
So once again, it's not even necessarily like it's just constrained to conservative voices. People like Brett Weinstein, they're all just seeing that the writing's on the wall for Twitter.
It's censored voices, fundamentally.
Yes.
And dissidents. And it's I can see John has updated. I did say there was 150,000 more. Apparently there's 171,000 more who have joined in the last 24 hours, which is a huge exodus of people just going, all right, hell with this, bye.
Yeah, you're doing great business for Gettr, Twitter. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, there is nothing more that I think could help Gettr except Twitter being worse. And the more they are worse, the more their platform dies, and that's good news.
And can you believe that it turns out that, oh my God, Jack, that I forgot his name for a moment, Jack was the moderating force of Twitter, it turns out. And as soon as he's gone, it's just like, well, let's just ban all these people.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, all of those policies were put under him, so I don't see him as any moderating force at all, frankly. If we go to
relatively speaking, of
next link, we can also see Lord Pearson on Gettr as well, as you can see here, putting his one of his speeches. I really love Lord Pearson's speeches in the House because he always just brings out inconvenient truths and is like, can we discuss it? And the whole opposite side just starts moaning. It's like, I asked if we could discuss Islam, and you all moan. Why is that? Anyway, let's go to the next one so we can see Jordan Peterson also setting up his account. I mean, the number of people is immense, and then the number of figures who have also dealt with censorship in many a different way are also jumping over as well, as I'm getting at. If we go to the next link, we see Gettr was trending on Twitter on number 8. So this is number 8 in the USA. And there's obviously the reasons as mentioned. And if we go to the next one, we can see Grabby and Media were also banned and had to move over because, well, not allowed to post pictures of representatives criticizing pharmaceutical corporations. Can you? That's not allowed. Get lost. So they kicked them out. And the question on my mind, of course, is from a US perspective, will it get parlayed? And I thought it's worth remembering, or at least put an F in the chat for parler, because, well, they didn't deserve what happened to them, obviously. We can see here Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez back in the day saying, what are Apple and Google Play doing about this? The doing about this, the fact that people were on Parler saying free things.
Yep.
They're allowed to say things. Oh no.
And then it gets left up.
Call missus and tell on Parler, what have they done? And she did. She called up Apple and Google and being like, hey, get rid of this.
And they did.
And yeah, they did. And if we go to the next one, there's another representative in the House who also did this at the time that I think is worth remembering, going after the Amazon Web Services. And, well, are they going to not do this to Gettr? But they're probably going to try. And, I mean, if they succeed, then we'll have another great example of how the market is not free and instead is rigged. And if they fail, well, then we keep a nice free speech platform, which is always good. But this was more of a story, I think, fundamentally for the UK political scene. Of course, huge and massive audience in the US, and not doubting that for a minute. But if we go to the next one, you can see it was actually trending number 2 in the UK, as Jason points out. UK coming in hot there. And this is because Twitter has not just gone after conservatives, as you mentioned, or people who say things about the virus, coronavirus. No, they also go after people who just report footy news, apparently.
This was the most confusing part for me.
Yeah, imagine now as breaking, politics for all, news for all, football for all suspended, all gone. Apparently this was run by some like centre-right Tory, what is he, like 18, something like that? I can't remember.
I don't I don't know the guy, but it wouldn't surprise me.
That was the Politics for All guy, and as you can see, his subsequents, News for All and Football for All, also banned.
And it wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, I didn't see much of a particular ideological bent to the tweets he was putting out. He's just like, well, here's the news, here's the article.
I mean, we featured him a million times, and people may remember. And the point as well, obviously, being that he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Literally 0 things. Because all he does is take, here's a quote, or here's a thing that was said in the newspaper, here's the link to the newspaper.
There you go.
He was banned for saying nothing.
Well, he's banned for saying the mainstream headlines.
Yes, for saying that a thing was said can get you banned, including your Football for All account. It's also banned.
So if I post a photo of myself with the Daily Telegraph or something, I'm putting myself at risk.
You're saying what's in the Daily Telegraph.
Oh my goodness.
If we go to the next link, you see Specsavers. I mean, like as a normie company, as you could probably think, decided to get in on the mockery of this ridiculous situation, changing their name to Glasses for All, which Twitter should have gone to Specsavers. There's a million jokes in there. Please don't suspend us, Twitter, and then getting 26,000 likes on Twitter because they're still there for that. And
even Specsavers are dunking on you.
Yeah, Specsavers, the glasses company.
Yep.
I mean, this is what I mean by it's not just political circles.
Maybe they're just saying that the guy couldn't see and his hand just slipped.
Yeah, but it's not even political circles. It's not even like dissident circles at this point. It's just complete randos. I mean, Twitter's just there with the banned shotgun and just firing randomly into the crowd.
Whoever was scrolling through Twitter on the social media, whoever the social media manager for Twitter is, for Specsavers, is just like...
Let's go to the next one so we can see Telegram as well. This is where Politics for All are at the moment. I don't know why they haven't made a Gettr account. Maybe they have. They haven't just had it verified yet, but I couldn't find it. So I'm sure they'll jump over at some point. And if we carry on, we can see some of the other stuff here that I thought was entertaining. The Bad Man, because the Bad Man is on Gettr as well. And this is fundamentally, as we've seen, a long-running situation. I mean, when was the Bad Man banned from all social media?
A while back.
2016 or something? I don't even know. I mean, ages ago. And, well, he was lobbied by Mohammed Shafiq, who literally went to Facebook HQ and just told lies about him, saying he was involved in terrorism, and then Facebook banned him. And then they tried to say it's because he advocated violence against Muslims, and then had to admit that they have no evidence of that. Don't know why they're able to do that and not be sued, but whatever. And I thought we'd mention what he's been up to, because this is the other aspect of Gettr and free platforms that I like, which is that these people all get resurrected. And you can see what they've been saying, because they've been censored everywhere else. I mean, agree or disagree with them, they're interesting characters, evident by the fact that so many people follow them and they produce content. So he says in here, when I started using Gettr, it seemed like a total American audience. Looks like British have flooded in this last 7 days. Give this a retweet if you are British. Let's see ya. So, I mean, there's the other aspect of it. For the Americans, of course, Joe Rogan and Marjorie Green Taylor. But for the UK, just random people are all just getting banned as well. Football for All, gone. I mean, what if Football for All ever do against progressive ideology?
Be mainly appealing to working class people, I would imagine.
Yeah. And if we carry on, we'll go into something, because I noticed this article came up, I think, was it yesterday or the day before? Anti-vaxxers take part in boxing drills and combat veterans as thousands join secret group threatening direct action later this month. And I'm like, what? Alpha Men Assemble. Got a Telegram group with 2,800 members. Never heard of them.
Nope.
No, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But, okay. And then when you dig into this, I think I found the reason why, which is they mention a quote here. Alpha Men's members regularly share stories published by the Bad Man.
Rumbly Tombly.
Yeah, Rumbly Tomlinson. A social media channel with more than 150,000 subscribers that is overseen by those with links to the English Defence League. Right. Well, so hang on. The accusation is that this group, this random group of 1,000 people on Telegram, have met up and done some combat training, and they share stories from this outlet.
Okay.
Do they also share stories from the Daily Mail? Oh no, Daily Mail is a front for terrorism. We've got him, boys. Like
Daily Mail, EDL, bam.
Confirmed. And it's a weird mention in there, in a story that you wouldn't expect to be in there, except, of course, that they want to make the Bad Man out to be a terrorist all of a sudden. If we go to the next link, we've covered this previously, but as you can see, this was a story in which they claim, what was it, the world's 20 most dangerous extremists revealed?
Wasn't he number 20?
He wasn't.
Wait, what? Where was he?
He was number 20 in the Sun's version of events, but when you went to the Sun's link to the organization that made the list, he wasn't on the top 20 at all.
Oh, I was going to expect that. It was like number 5 or something. They had him really high up, but no, the Sun's just tacked him on.
He just wasn't there. So either this is complete fake news, or there was a link at the bottom that said download the full report. So maybe he's in the 50th place or something.
And they just decided to scoot him up a bit because they know that putting him in a headline.
Except that link doesn't work, and if you click it, it doesn't download anything. You just get a 404. It's like.
So this is just confirmed clickbait.
Is this just complete fake news? I'm not able to tell because we're not able to get the original document because you can't download it. And none of the archives have it either. So where did this accusation come from? I mean, for one, the dude's a journo, not a terrorist. Like, he's committed some crimes in the past, but that's not making him a terrorist.
And they were completely unrelated to anything political, really, weren't they?
Well, no, they're related to political things, like he wants to punch a Nazi, which is very bad.
Oh, that's a terrible thing. I can understand why the left would be annoyed at him for that.
Yeah.
One of our own.
And, what is all this about? And it is a bit weird, coming all at the same time. And we might have an idea, because the bad man thinks he has an idea, especially. If we go to the next link, you can see him publishing on Gettr his new promo. And this has already got 140,000 views there. And this is a promo for his new documentary, The Rape of Britain, and the specifics here being Telford. And he believes he's uncovered a huge problem there and is going to promo it live, not just on Gettr, but also in person, which John has invited me to, so let's go, because it'll be fun. So that's Saturday, 29th of January, 2 p.m. Telford, and we'll have a look at his accusations and what he has to say. So there you have it.
Very interesting.
And in case you're wondering about the grooming scandal or don't know all the details or how bad it is or just have some time, please, for the love of God, actually check out the other speech he gave, which is the Rape of Britain, which he gave in Russia because he couldn't give this speech in the UK without being deplatformed. So he had to go to the Russian Federation for free speech.
The irony.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Good God.
But this is an hour and a half speech in which he just goes through the history and the history nationally of, well, where did the accusations come from? Where were the denials from the press? The eventual acceptance, and then the lack of action and, well, even continued situation. But go and give that a watch as well, especially if you haven't. And I think we'll end that there. But yeah, absolute exodus from Twitter. Good news. Twitter killing itself. Good news.
And Twitter, I don't think they realise what damage they've done just sending Joe Rogan over to Gettr. Joe Rogan has such an enormous audience that he's just bringing over with him. I mean, they'll just follow him wherever he goes.
Spotify had to pay Joe $100 million. Gettr had to pay him nada.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like a pretty big win for Gettr there. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to check out all the premium content we have on the site, such as this, which is from the live event we did, in which I gave the feminist immigration policy that will save the West. Let me know in the comments how sexist it is. Anyway, if you'd like to find out what else is coming out on the website, you can always go over to lotuseaters_com to follow us there. Thank you and goodbye.